In every neighborhood, in every town, there's a spooky house where no one dares trick or treat. An eerie mansion where the owner is never seen except a shadow by a window or a creak across the floor. A mysterious house used in late-night tales of skeletons, hungry ghosts and ghouls to scare little brothers and sisters into a fitful sleep. Frightening tales of witching hour feasts, vampire cravings, eerie screams slicing the quiet night. Oh, every village has a house, and that house is my house. And I say, come inside. We're waiting for you.
Master, I brought the shovels.
Good, Igor, good. We have much work tonight.
Oh, and I brought your earmuffs.
Yes, Igor, yes. It gets cold at night in the cemetery. And did you bring my latte?
Yes, Master. Skim milk, true splendor.
Good, Igor, good. Let's get started. We dig in the earth.
The graves must be new.
The flesh not too rotten.
The maggots must be few.
I found a good heart.
I've unearthed 2 good legs.
A lung, a liver, an arm.
An egg?
We'll spend the night searching eerie winds all around. Digging for fresh pieces 6 feet underground.
We hunt for limbs and organs. Torches flicker and they shine.
Pots for Frankenstein! When all the parts are collected,
Add brain, spleen, and face.
to the hardware store for bolts,
Screw them tight into place.
Frankenstein is ready.
Now to bring him to life.
I wonder if this works. Should we make him a wife? Some say this work is evil. You never play with life and death. But I'll prove it isn't over when you take your final breath.
The pieces are in place. The storm is at its height.
Our parts for Frankenstein will come alive tonight. Oh, yes, Igor, yes, raise the platform. Please, it's time, it's time. Well, hook up the electrodes,
Plug them in the wall.
turn on the juice,
Hope his heart will not stall.
buzz.
Sizzle.
He's alive! He's awake! Some say this work is evil. You never play with life and death. But I'll prove it isn't over when you take your final breath.
The pieces are in place. The storm is at its height.
Our parts for Frankenstein have come alive tonight.
He looks awfully hungry.
I hope we're not cake.
No, we're toast.
Ooh, Igor, this is not my match. The vampire's ball is a swanky affair. Or shine up your fangs, grease back your hair. The vampire's ball, bring a friend as a snack. Yummy blood from Susie, plasma from Zach. The vampire's ball brings them into the light. Have yourself a monster time tonight. The vampire's ball has an all-cool band. They sing about the mummies being buried in sand. The vampires call to the dance floor they trek. They'll dance cheek to cheek, they'll dance tooth to neck. The vampire's ball brings them into the light. Have yourself a monster time tonight. Ooh, suck them dry, Steve. The vampire's ball is a swanky affair. Shine up your fangs, grease back your hair. The vampire's ball, bring a friend as a snack. Yummy blood from Susie, plasma from Zach. The vampire's ball brings them into the light. Have yourself a monster time tonight. The vampire's ball, they will party all night. The vampire's ball, they will party all night. The vampire's ball, they will party all night. Be in your coffin before it turns light. Woo! Igor, I like this new mash.
I saw a ghost. I saw it too. The ghost was white. We heard him go boo. He flew right through me. It felt so cold. Cold and slimy. And his spirit was old. I think it's creepy because he is dead. And when he flew right through me, I got spooky thoughts in my head. Hiding from ghosts, we're hiding from ghosts. They're obnoxious and they're gross. We're hiding from ghosts. I'm scared. He'll hear you. Let's hide in the closet. But he can fly through the door. Let's hide in the basement. But he can come through the floor, which is our ceiling. Let's hide in the attic. But there might be bats. Where can we stow away to avoid all the rats? I think it's scary, he'll rattle and he'll creak. And when I look him in the eyes, it makes me wanna shriek. Hiding from ghosts, we're hiding from ghosts. That one was too close. We're hiding from ghosts. Hiding from ghosts, we're hiding from ghosts. Oh man, I think we're toast. We're hiding from ghosts. We have to hide better. Where do we go where the ghost won't see? We'll make him our friend, we can help set him free. We'll play spooky games, we'll hunt through the night. We'll scare little children and cause lots of fright. We're searching for ghosts, searching for ghosts. Alert the New York Post. We're searching for ghosts. Maybe Scooby will join our quote. Wait, what's a quote? Did I say quote? Yeah. Oh, I meant quest. Oh. We're searching for ghosts.
Welcome, donors, friends. Welcome to the Space Fringe Online. I hope you enjoyed this little preview of our full show, and you will come to our live show at the Fringe 2021, or contact us to bring the show to your haunted little theater. Until I get to bite, see you in person. Go get our album, Vampire's Ball Ultimate Halloween Party by Brad Tassel and Steve Goody, anywhere you shove music into your ears. We promise it will give you the happiest of creeps. Lastly, if you love this little preview and want to bring the full show to coffins, stages all over the world, go to www.ultimatehalloweenparty.com and buy a ticket to the show you just saw. You've already seen it, but I am hypnotizing you to go and buy a ticket anyway. Go, go, go.
Welcome to Guided by Science, broadcasting live from our studio on today, the 18th of November 2020. This evening, with the world still reeling from the second wave of coronavirus, we talk about the environmental crisis now gripping the nation. Gale force winds, storm events, and the eradication of many species of flora and fauna. Some are calling this the end of days. We have with us in the studio the eminent scientist, Dr. Alan Hardwick, author of the bestseller, Our World, Our Environment. Dr. Hardwick, welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
Alarming changes in temperature and the extinction of many animal species. Is this the end of days?
Well, that might be a little premature, but certainly we're on course for disaster.
In your book, you postulate that a 2-degree temperature increase will lead to a series of worldwide catastrophes.
That's right, yes.
So, how do you explain the 9-degree drop in temperature we have witnessed in recent weeks?
Drop in temperature.
The average daily temperature has dropped by over 9 degrees since August. Is there a connection between the plummeting temperatures and the decimation of the nation's trees?
Decimation? Did you say trees?
Over the last few weeks, Britain's trees have been all but eradicated. An estimated 88% of trees have lost their ability to photosynthesize. Estimates show that within just a few months, there will be almost no trees left.
Lose their... Do you mean they'll lose their leaves?
If you want to be technical, yes.
But they'll grow new leaves.
Doctor, are you suggesting that if you lose your finger, you can simply grow a new one?
What? No.
We are looking at the worldwide extinction of plant life. Many species of grass have stopped growing entirely. Is this all a result of the climate change your book warns us about?
No.
Then what would you call these events?
Autumn.
Would you care to explain what you mean by that?
Well, it's autumn. It gets colder. Deciduous trees lose their leaves.
That's quite a claim, Dr. Hardwick. Do you have any basis for this?
Yes, it happens every year.
You're saying this has happened before?
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
Last year.
And you're saying that all those dying trees will miraculously come back to life and grow completely new leaves?
Well, yes, in the spring.
And the dead animals, will they miraculously come back to life?
What dead animals are we talking about here?
Squirrels, dormice, hedgehogs, bats. They've either disappeared completely or been found dead under bushes and in caves. This is a huge environmental disaster, Dr. Hardwick. A disaster which you completely failed to predict.
When you say found dead under bushes, could it be that they are, perhaps, asleep?
Dr. Hardwick, are you suggesting that climate change isn't happening?
Not at all. It's just that this sounds an awful lot like hibernation.
I'm sure we're all well aware that just sleeping is a euphemism for being dead. This is well supported by evidence from our own childhood.
They're not dead. They will come back to life.
So the beginnings of a zombie apocalypse?
No, that's not what I mean. They're in a deep sleep. They'll wake up in the spring.
Have you ever witnessed for yourself an animal hibernating and then resuscitating?
No.
Then could you please define your sources?
Well, it's just, everybody knows.
I'm sorry, Dr. Hardwick. Anecdotal evidence is not a sound basis for modern science, and we must be guided by the science.
But it happens all the time, like ionospheric anomalies or rainbows.
Please don't try to confuse us with technical jargon. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, an ionospheric anomaly is when...
No, not that one. The other one.
A rainbow?
Yes.
Surely you know what a rainbow is.
I know what I think a rainbow is, but then I'm not the supposed expert.
When it rains, it makes colours in the sky.
Colours? In the sky?
Yes. Red, orange, yellow.
And at the end of the rainbow, a treasure chest guarded by Irish immigrants?
What?
And does this have any bearing on the patches of hard water that have started to appear in upland areas?
Do you mean ice?
It's too hard to drink and it makes your hands very cold.
Well, yes, that's because of the drop in temperature.
If this continues, by January, we could be at a point where temperatures fail to rise above zero.
Yes, winter.
So we're entering a new ice age.
No!
So you're saying there's no ice?
No, I mean, yes, there will be ice.
In light of this new evidence, would you like to retract your assertions regarding global warming?
I knew it. I knew you were just an apologist for big business. Just another in a long line of people who think that climate change isn't happening. Well, it is. Of course it is. Over the next few decades, the world temperature is set to rise by 2 degrees, and the effects on the environment will be calamitous.
So, according to you, is the temperature going to stop falling and then rise? Or is it going to rise at the same time?
Is the temperature going to rise and then fall at the same time?
Yes.
Well, yes, in a way. Even though the Northern Hemisphere is entering winter, the worldwide average continues to rise year upon year.
How?
Because it's summer on the other side of the world.
Other side of the world?
Yes, the other side.
And exactly how many sides does this world have?
Well, it's a sphere, so I suppose technically 1.
I see. And when you say sphere, are you implying that the world is not flat?
Yes.
And your evidence for this?
Well, there's lunar eclipses and photos from space, horizons. The world is definitely round. Well, spherical. Well, an oblique spheroid.
And do you have proof of this with you today?
No, look, this isn't even my field.
Once again, Dr. Hardwick, your theories are based on assumptions, based on anecdotal evidence, or simply what everybody knows.
They're not theories, they're basic facts that everyone learns at school.
And were you not taught at school that we have 5 senses when scientists now acknowledge that we have between 9 and 33?
Well, yes, because it was thought to be true at the time, you see.
And were you not taught at school that bats are blind? Or that Christopher Columbus discovered America?
Well, yes, because at the time...
And were you never taught that the world was made in 6 days?
But that's different.
We have source material.
That's not source.
And were you never told by your dad that Mr. Snuffles was going to live on a farm, whereas the reality of the matter is that Mr. Snuffles was actually dead the whole time?
Look, I'm very sorry about Mr. Snuffles, and what is very clearly a traumatic incident for you.
Dad ran him over in his 4x4.
Again, very sorry, but climate change is a fact. Gillette's study on temperature in Antarctica shows...
Have you ever been to Antarctica, Doctor?
No, of course I haven't.
Then your work is based on hearsay.
It's not hearsay, it's well documented.
How do you know Nathan Gillette actually went to Antarctica?
He's a scientist. He's been peer-reviewed.
So you don't know?
Gillette is a well-respected climatologist.
Unless you have first-hand experience, then all your work is based on assumptions. And when you assume, you make a sum out of A, S, and E. The C. No, that's not right.
You're either a genius or an idiot. I'm not sure which.
The point is, you blindly trust what your fellow scientists tell you, just as you blindly trusted what your teachers taught you at school, just as one might trust their murdering father. That's not science, that's faith. All science is just faith.
This is all just some hideous nightmare, isn't it?
This is a news programme, Dr. Hardwick, and we are guided by the science. And the science is guided by us. Ergo, science guides itself.
Look, we can debate your pseudoscience all day long, but climate change is a fact. How much more evidence do you people need before you accept that it's happening?
Oh, of course it's happening. Water fell out of the sky onto my head today.
That's not climate, that's weather.
Part of my garden got washed away.
That's weathering.
Your veins are full of ice water.
That's wuthering heights,
My
isn't it?
toilet's blocked.
That's not relevant.
This morning it overflowed onto my feet.
Still not relevant.
Nevertheless, these are all things that I have observed. What kind of news presenter would I be if I merely parroted gossip that pops up on a screen?
A normal one.
We need to check the facts. Or do you believe everything you're told?
I believe some things that I'm told.
COVID-19 then. Real or made up?
Of course, COVID-19 is a real thing.
I didn't catch it.
Well, I did. I spent 2 weeks in hospital.
And did you die from it?
Did I die from the coronavirus?
Stop stalling for time, Doctor. You either know the answer or you don't.
Of course I didn't die from it. Unless... Is this hell?
No, this is London. At least, I call it that. What do you call it?
Edinburgh. We're in Edinburgh.
So, you have no evidence for climate change. No evidence that the world isn't flat. No evidence that Mr. Snuffles survived the accident and went to live on a farm with a girl called Chloe who loved him like her own.
This isn't a science programme. This is a farce.
So, breaking news. Science is just people lying to your face. And apparently they do it to protect your feelings.
No, look, that's just not true. I have sound, peer-reviewed evidence that climate change is real. For years, big business has tried to cover up the truth by bullying academics like me into silence. I've been threatened, I've been sidelined, I've been ridiculed on programs like this that claim to be guided by the science. Well, I've had enough. I will not let you steamroller me like this with your ridiculous semantic pedantry. I will have my say.
That's why we invited you.
Look, even if you don't trust the evidence, you can't ignore your own common sense.
Common sense? Is that one of the 5 senses?
No! Look, for example, let's focus on reductionism.
That's when supermarkets lower their prices.
No, it isn't. I'm not even sure what that is. No, look, you just have to ask yourself, what's more rational? Is it more rational that the coronavirus exists? Or is it that the world media is colluding in some giant conspiracy?
What's more rational? The government's figures being ruthlessly honest, or that they may have erred on the side of political expediency?
Well, there are several factors.
What's more rational? Strapping 3 men to a death capsule and firing it up into space, or filming the lunar landings in Nevada? What's more rational? Mr. Trump being a real person who tells us to inject bleach, or that he's a satirical character from a comedy show?
Okay, you might have a point there.
What's more rational? Appleton Farm lying, saying they've never had a dog called Mr. Snuffles, or your father murdering your dog in cold blood and then trying to hide the evidence for 20 years.
So you don't
Who knows what to believe? Should we wear face masks? Is 5G dangerous? Does Brexit really mean Brexit, or does it mean something else? Is it just a coincidence that Mum planted a dog-sized rose garden just after the accident? Don't tell me there's no conspiracy. There's always a conspiracy.
Oh, I really don't.
They lie to you, Doctor. They all lie. The government, the scientists, the church, the media. The only person who's never lied to me is Santa. And he doesn't let me sit on his knee anymore.
Santa? Do you still believe in...
What?
Nothing.
Oh, not Santa. Not him too.
Breaking news just in. The World Health Organization is set to announce today that over 80% of accidents are entirely unavoidable, and that most canine collisions are caused by dogs running into the road when they should be safe indoors. Many 4x4 drivers feel regret for... Look, if you want to apologise to her, just go and apologise. Don't make me read it out. You're not even recording this, are you? What's wrong with you, people?
Hello!
Hi!
Thanks for watching. We have been Anomaly Theatre Company. If you would like to see any more of our shows, we also have Glitch and Interrogated that's on the website just now, so feel free to watch those and check them out.
Yeah, and also if you guys could do us a massive favour and please let us know what you think about Guided by Science by just contacting us or sharing on social media, Twitter or Facebook. And also if you guys could just support the Edinburgh Fringe as much as possible during this time, that would be absolutely amazing. So,
Thank you very much for watching. Bye!
thank you very much. Bye everyone.
Bye!
Right, hello, is it oh yes, it's on. Okay, you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. We know what it's like when you're stuck in class, just waiting for the bell to ring. And then you bring out this old dusty tome and say, Shakespeare, the play's the thing. And you sit there for hours like old wilting flowers as you learn about iambic beats. 10 to every line, eh? But what they teach you is boring. Shakespeare shouldn't leave you snoring, and they leave out all the exciting deets. That's slang for details. Yeah. Because Shakespeare should be invigorating. He was always innovating, and in his plays, one thing you'll find is that everybody dies. They could be poisoned, stabbed, or drowned, be poor or of great renown. They all end up the same in this show. Is the complete works of Shakespeare, but just the deaths, and the gory bits too, but just the deaths, but just the deaths. Hey, hello all, thank you, welcome to the complete works of Shakespeare, but just the deaths and the gory bits too. My name is Abby, this is Keith, and we were so excited when theSpaceUK asked us to put on a show for this festival, but we just couldn't decide which Shakespeare show we wanted to do. So we thought, why not just do all of them? But then we did think that would actually probably be pretty boring, and the Globe's already done it. So then we thought, why not just do all the fun bits? And by the fun bits, we mean the gory bits. So over the next 4.5 hours, we're going to take a really detailed, in-depth, analytical look at Shakespeare's what? It's 45 minutes. We are going to take a look at Shakespeare's characters, themes, stories, and most importantly, all those deaths. But since we only have 45 minutes, and I just wasted the first 5 doing that opening song, we'd better get cracking. Now, Keith, as the brains of this duo, has done all the research, and he's researched how many deaths are seen, mentioned, and faked, both on stage and off, in all of Shakespeare's plays, and we are going to attempt to showcase them all for you tonight. So Keith is going to be keeping a tally score as we go along so that we know we're on track. But if you want to play along at home, please do. Every time you think we mention a new death, tick it off and see if you can catch them all. References for the youth. So, Keith, what is the total death count figure before we start? What did you come up with? It was... so it's 10,187. Okay, yeah, we had really better get cracking then. Okay, great. So, for a show that's all about death, how better to start than with a funeral? Okay, if you've got the cards. Oh, thank you, Keith. Dearly beloved, we are staggered here today to celebrate the life of our dear departed friend, tragically shot down in the prime rib of his life. He was a good friend, a bit of a stag the lad, known to buck the trends and forge his own path. He leaves behind his dear widow and 8 children, Donna, Dancer, Prancer, Comet, Cupid, Blitz. Wait, okay, Keith, this is a funeral for a Shakespeare character, isn't it? Yeah, but as in like a person. It's just that there's a lot of deer puns in here, which make me think that it might be a funeral for a deer. It is. Oh, because they do that in As You Like It. And in Love Labour's Lost. Oh, well, lots of funerals for dears then. Right, well, who am I to argue? Sorry, folks, about the interruption. Dear Lord, please antler our prayers. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Venison. Hey, you! Yes, you! Are you a character in a Shakespeare play that's looking to get someone killed? Then head on down to Assassin's Auras, where we'll find the perfect assassin just for you! We have a huge range of killers, murderers, and thieves here at Assassin's Auras. Whether you're looking to poison your stepdaughter like Cymbeline or want to bump off your nephew in King John, our assassins get the job done. Unless they do have a sudden bout of pesky consciousness that makes them swap the poison for sleeping draught or just let the targets go. But are our assassins thorough? Of course they aren't! Our unsatisfied customer Macbeth wanted his best friend and their son killed, and thanks to Assassin's Auras, we made sure that the son got away. Although when Macbeth got us to kill the Macduff family, we got every single one, even the chickens. Or say your target, say Pericles, the Prince of Tyre, has skipped town and our assassin can't find them. They won't rest until they've had a slap-up lunch with the local lords before heading home empty-handed. Yes, here at Assassin's Auras, we take all the risk out of your murderous plans. Don't believe us? Just look at Julius Caesar. 33 guys to stab one man to death that then sparks a civil war and leads to the death of all the conspirators and their loved ones and an innocent poet with an unfortunate name? I don't think so. I bet they all wish that they'd gone to Assassin's Auras. Hire us to leave your newborn daughter on a distant shore to die today and get a free bear. What is it? It's a real bear! Assassin's Auras! Visit us today! Terms and conditions apply! We can't be blamed if your plot fails and you are then killed by revengeful loved ones, subjects just plain guilt, or forced to exit stage left pursued by a bear! Quick! Roll the clip! Roll the clip!
Welcome back to the channel. You just got Timo. With your boy Timo of Athens. We got some hilarious pranks for you might. Super epic. But first, let's see what my mates have been up to. Show us what you got.
So, this Falstaff guy has been trying to get with me and my best friend. We're both just like, ooh. But this isn't the first time we've pranked him. We've already had him hide in a basket of disgusting laundry which got thrown in the river. And then we tricked him into dressing up like my old Reese out, which was just like, Claire. But this is our best prank yet. We've told him to come meet us here. And we've also had all our friends dress up like fairies. When he gets here, we're all going to jump out and beat him up.
Beat him up. You just got Timo. You guys ready for more? Check Cleo out.
So, I played this totes random prank on my boyfriend. I sent someone to tell him that I was dead. So when he comes running back here, I'm going to jump out at him and be like, surprise! So random! Oh, shh. Surprise! So random! What? Oh my god. That's not so random! Quick, catch that snake. Iris? Are you okay? Chutney? Oh my god. They're both there too, like on a broken car. Oh, and I'm about to die from this snake bite. So random!
Oh! You just got. Actually, could someone check on them? Escalated really quickly. What's that? Time for Timon's prank? We've got one more before my break. So this is Harry, and I just pulled off the most epic prank. I told my buddy Titan so I wouldn't kill his sons if he cut off his hand, and he only went and did it. He's so brave. What he doesn't know is I've already cut off his son's head, and I'm going to give him to him now. That's a double whammy. So if we don't get very lucky, my neck and have to die for this, like a loser. Latest. Oh. Wow, that all seemed extremely unnecessary. I don't really want to do mine now. I was just going to invite some mates round to my house for dinner and then spray them with water. Thought it would be funny. See you next week for more Tim. Oh! Well, now I'll be talking about the futility of existence and the disintegration of society before I crawl into a hole in the desert to die.
Sometimes you hear things that just don't seem right, but you can't help but believe them, try as you might. Maybe your love has died, or they've cheated on you. But as hard as it is, don't assume that it's true. No, don't believe everything you hear. No, don't believe everything you hear. Maybe you think that your family is gone, sunk to the depths and you're now on your own, like Pericles or Ferdinand, Sebastian and Viola. But look over there, your family's having a stroll, and don't believe everything you hear. No, don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you hear. Maybe you hear something a little more gory, like Falstaff or Arthur. Now that's quite the story. Falstaff playing dead in battle so he can rob a corpse, and Arthur, they said that he wasn't dead, then he fell right off the walls. So don't believe everything you hear. No, don't believe everything you hear. So what is the moral of this little song? It's a very short phrase and it's not very long. It's don't believe everything you hear. No, don't believe everything you hear, especially in a play by Shakespeare. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi there. So my name is Hamlet the Dane, Prince of Denmark, and I am here to pitch to you today my very complicated, utterly convoluted and highly theatrical plan. So I don't know about you, but I'm always trying to find ways to prove that my uncle killed my dad to then marry my mother and take the throne from me. And after speaking to my friends about it in a series of complex metaphors, they told me they had the same problem. So what to do? Well, I've come up with the solution. May I present the play's The Thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. I'm not tied to the product title though, so that can change. Just thought I'd let you know. So how does it work? It couldn't be easier. Just take these players and get them to play something like the murder of your father before thine uncle. Then observe his looks. If he do bletch, you'll know your course. I tested out the prototype and it worked almost perfectly with only a few glitches to work out. What were the glitches? It did prove to me that my uncle killed my dad by pouring poison into his ear. But then when I went to confront my mum about this, I thought it was my uncle hiding behind a curtain. So I stabbed him and I killed him. But it was actually my girlfriend's dad. And that also led to my girlfriend Ophelia going mad with grief and drowning herself in a brook. But these are really simple glitches to fix, I promise. And I really think that there's a product fit for this kind of market at the moment. So thank you for listening to my pitch. And I hope that you will invest in the play's The Thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. Oh. You've heard of Long John Silver. You feared Hook. You've marveled at Captain Jack Sparrow. But get ready for the pirate adventure of the summer. Hamlet. Witness the edge of your seat adventure as this plucky group of pirates attack a royal ship bound for England. They'll stop at nothing to claim what isn't theirs, including taking Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, prisoner. Get ready for a white-knuckle ride as Hamlet must fight his way out before being let go, sailed home by the pirates, and describing the whole adventure in a letter to his friend that the friend then reads out to the audience rather than showing it on stage. But no, I'm sorry, Keith, but that's rubbish. Like, why wouldn't you show an epic pirate fight on stage? Like, let's try another one. Oh, here we go. Okay. Shipwrecks, battles, assassins. See it all in Pericles, the Prince of Tyre. Watch in excitement as this ragtag group of pirates save the king's daughter from an assassin, only to take her prisoner themselves. Experience the thrill as they sell her to a brothel and then go away, never to be seen or heard of again. Well, you see, that's not exciting, Keith. That's just dull. Well, there must be a better pirate story in one of Shakespeare's plays. Ah, here we go. This summer, measure for measure, can this rogue lone pirate measure up and overthrow a corrupted government? Yeah, you see, this is more like it. Yes, he can, by dying of a fever and having his head cut off because he looks a little bit like another guy. I mean, come on, that one doesn't even have any fighting in it, Kate. Like, it's rubbish. All of it, like, this sketch is just over. Done with this sketch, okay? Like, not coming this summer. Pirates of the Shakespearean. See, it just doesn't work, Keith. Just roll the clip. Roll the clip.
It's the last day of our banqueting bonanza. We kicked off this week with our first hosts, the Macbeths. Oops, sorry. I mean the Scottish plays.
Now, I really enjoyed the food, but to be honest, they weren't very good hosts. They kept whispering together and then disappearing. And then the king was mysteriously murdered. During dessert, Macbeth went mental, pointing at empty chairs and shouting, "Do not shake ivory locks at me." I mean, I just had my hair done yesterday. Hello?
Better get a refund, love.
Also, Lady Macbeth is really neurotic about washing her hands. Like, chill out. It's a banquet. So, I'm going to give the Macbeths
Yeah, look, Scottish plays.
a 5.
Ooh, a harsh score for a harsh couple. Can our next hosts do any better? On the second night, we dined with some of the rough men of Athens. Bottoms up, bottom.
I mean, food is simple tonight. We entertained them. Rob invited all of his friends round to put on a play for us. Him and Miss Frisbee, and it would not end. So that's a 3 from me.
Day 3 saw Titus Andronicus take things in hand. Well, one hand at least.
So for the main tonight, Titus sort of made me pie, but I did actually find a hair in mine, and a fingernail, and a finger, and a human head. But he did make the most amazing raspberry pavlova for dessert, which more than made up for it. So tonight, from me, it's an 8. Out goes 4.
So, Titus is the man to beat. Not literally, though. Don't make him angry. He might make you into a pie, too. Day 4 had a bit of confusion, as everyone headed to Antipholus of Ephesus' gaff. Try and say that, Mary. Only to find themselves in the home of Antipholus of Syracuse, the other Antipholus' long-lost identical twin brother he thought was dead. I'm seeing double. Or maybe that's just the mechanical Zale talking. And so, to find out the scores of our final hosts, sisters, Goneril and Reagan.
Well, the night started off quite well and very civilised, until Leah turned up with about 100 knights and started to wreck the place. Goneril and Reagan and the others, they had this huge domestic, which ended up with 2 servants dead. Reagan's husband was murdered. Edmund stabbed and dead. Gloucester had his eyes gouged out with a soup spoon, and then he had a heart attack. The fool was nowhere to be seen. Cordelia was murdered. Reagan was poisoned. The executioner topped off. Leah was pushing up the daisies. And then Goneril came in, saw all the mess, and did himself in and all.
To be fair, mate, I wouldn't want to clean that up either. So, what's the final score?
So I give Reagan and Goneril's nights a 9. 9. 9.
we're going to have to call emergency services. It's an absolute mess over there. Yeah, and bring them up.
Join us next time on Come Banquet With Me, when we'll be hosted by the Hamlets.
A drink. Drink. I am poisoned.
Hey, you! Yes, you! Have you been entangled in a love plot that wasn't your fault? Come on down to Death Direct, and we'll help you untie that knot with a fake death. Take Helena. She forced an unwilling Bertram into marrying her, but still wanted him to love her. So she came to Death Direct, where we helped her fake her own death, make her mother-in-law turn against her own son, and trick her husband into sleeping with her, thinking she was someone else. Until finally, Bertram conceded defeat. Now there's smiles and grimaces all round. As they say, all's well that ends well, ethically speaking. Here at Death Direct, we don't just focus on short-term plans. Oh no! We play the long game too! Look at Winter's Tale. Hermione wanted to teach her paranoid husband a lesson after he accused her of having an affair. So she came to Death Direct, where we changed her into a statue for 16 years until bringing her back to life to reunite with her repentant husband and long-lost daughter. How, you ask? Ah, a playwright never reveals their secrets. As in, literally, Shakespeare never explains if it's magic or if she's just been really still. But it's a comedy, so it all ends happily. And it can for you. God, come down to Death Direct. But when you don't have a friend, who's a priest? Hey, Friar Francis. Friar, is that you? A long time no see. How are things, Lawrence, in Verona? Oh, Friar Francis, so good to see you. Verona, you know, 2 households, both in like dignity, yada, yada, yada. What about you? Where are you now? Is it Messina? Oh, yes, Messina, yeah. Oh, it's going great. We've had a touch of scandal, but don't worry, I am absolutely handling it. In fact, I had this great idea, right? So it's all about this woman, Hero. She was accused of talking out of a window with a man that wasn't her fiancé, if you know what I mean. And all hell, Father forgive me, broke loose at the wedding. A father disowned her, a fiancé humiliated her in front of everyone. So, you know, I had to step in and sort things out. Well, of course, that's what we priests do, sort things out with highly convoluted plans. You do have a highly convoluted plan, don't you? Oh, of course. You see, I'm pretty much certain she was set up, so I've had this great idea. I'm going to stage a fake funeral for her, yeah? Tell everyone she's dead, smoke out the people that did the dirty on her. Fiancé realises what a mistake he's made, agrees to marry Hero's fake niece to make up for it, disguise Hero as the fake niece, and everyone lives happily ever after. Easy peasy. Oh, what a brilliant plan. So the ultimate do-over. You know, that actually gives me an idea to help with a problem that I've been having. You see, there's this girl, and she's in love with this boy, and of the families, they do not approve. But they're such a lovely couple, so lovely that I just married them in secret, bish, bash, bosh. Only now, the boy's only gone and murdered the girl's cousin in revenge after they killed the boy's best friend, and he's been banished to this godforsaken place called Mantua. Manchester? No, close, Mantua. It's just off the M6. But now, the girl's family want to marry her off to someone else, and I've been in a right pickle about it, but you've just given me the answer. Fake funeral. Well, what can I say? It works every time. In fact, I could even give her some of my special sleeping draught, my 2 and 40 hours special. It makes someone look like they're really dead, you know, just to really sell it. Or that, That is an excellent touch. I'll just have to make sure that my friend Friar John gets word to the boyfriend in exile. Like I said, sword stabbings, it's a whole thing. I'll send him through Oldham. Yes, there's no lockdowns there, so we won't get stuck in a quarantined house full of plague. You know, I have to say, Lawrence, I think this might be the best plan I have ever heard. Absolutely foolproof. I don't see how it can go wrong at all. Ah, well, thank you. I know I can't see how it can end any other way than happily ever after. Certainly not in a double suicide, the murder of a Roman lord and the offstage death of the boyfriend's mother. No, of course not. Hey, I say, isn't that Friar Lodwick? Hey, Friar Lodwick! Friar Lodwick! Hey, oh, how are you? Friar Francis, Friar Lawrence, what? Fancy seeing both of you here. Oh, I know, old boy, well, what are you up to? Oh, you know, the usual priest things, a bit of intrigue there, a bit of death there, a bit of tricking an evil judge into thinking he slept with a nun when actually it's his fiancée he broke up with to help preserve the nun's dignity and save her brother from execution. You know, normal priest things. I say, Lodwick, is your bag all right? It's got a few blood stains coming down from it there. Oh, yeah, did I not tell you? Silly me, brain fart and all that. Yes, it's just a pirate's head. Oh, well, of course, I see now it's for a priestly plot, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to claim that it's the nun's brother so that the evil judge will leave her alone. Look, is there nothing that we priests can't sort out? Well, I suppose I do have a confession to make, chaps. Oh, well, go ahead. We are priests after all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just that, well, I'm not a real priest. I'm a joke in disguise. How will the priest get him out of this one? Join us next week for more priestly plots, when the priest will be figuring out if Shakespeare really wrote The Two Noble Kingsmen. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back. Now, we are so excited today because we've got something very, very exciting to teach you. We're going to show you how to speak to ghosts. So the next time that you see a ghostly ghoul, you'll know just what to do. Now, the first thing you're going to need is a ghost. Now, you can make your ghosts either by sending killers after your best friend, like Macbeth. You could murder your way to power, like Richard III. Having a guilty conscience for killing your ruler, like Brutus and Julius Caesar. Or just have a family member murder your dad in cold blood, like Hamlet. But if you are going to be stabbing anyone, make sure you've got a responsible adult present to help you with those sharp knives. Now, I don't have to stab anyone today because here I have a ghost that I made earlier. Here it comes. Oh, lovely. So the first thing you're going to need to do when talking to a ghost is speak to it in Latin. Because as we know, all magical and spiritual things happen in Latin. Just think of Catholic Mass, or an exorcism, or even good old Expelliarmus. Look, when Hamlet first saw his ghost dad, he said, hic et ubic. But because we're on stage, we can then carry on in normal English so everyone can understand us. So now, you need to find out why your ghost is here. Now, there's three main reasons that you get a ghost. Number one, they have buried treasure that they want you to find. Ooh, lovely. Number two, they need you to avenge their death. Ooh, tricky. Or number three, they're here as a bad omen. Maybe on the eve of war to spell out your imminent defeat. Or to drive you into madness over the guilt of your bloody deeds. Which one is my ghost here for? Well, you'll just have to guess. But I'll give you a clue, boys and girls. It's number three. Now, when you're talking to a ghost, do try to say everything you need to as fast as you can, as soon as you can, because as soon as your ghost hears the cock crow, they'll be forced back into the underworld, just like this. Cock-a-doodle-doo! and there he goes, back into the pits of hell where he belongs. Lovely. And that is how you speak to ghosts. So now, I think it's time to meet some real villains. Let's roll the clip.
Now Shakespeare, as I'm sure you know, is full of bad guys. But who was the worst? Well, we are here to make you wise. We've gathered the best and the baddest, and now it's time to spit a verse. About how evil you are, gonna raise the bar and find out who's the worst. First up, it's me, Iachimo. You may not know my name, but I'm #1 villain in Anomaly. Stirring chaos is my game. But my friend and I could sleep with his wife, and he said, yeah, right. But I hid in a closet, stole a bracelet, and then I creeped on her all night. Fool my body so he sent someone to get her killed. When it comes to spreading rumors, you can't beat my skills. Really? That's Charles' play. Sit down. I'll give you a lesson. I'll foster paranoia. I relate to destroy a master of manipulation. Watch a Yaga score, cause I hate them more as I get him to strangle his wife. And along the way, look what games I play as I ruin everyone's life. I got Rodrigo stabbed and Cassius attacked, and in the end I killed my own spouse. So if you're talking about baddies, you better be glad it's the Yaga now in the house. Calm down, boys. Being evil, you know, it's not just a man's world. To be truly sadistic and a little nihilistic, sometimes you need a girl. My friend Lady M, she got quite close, but in the end the guilt drove her mad. So take a page from me tomorrow and you'll see how to make someone really sad. Tried to stack me up and killed my son, so I vowed to get revenge. Got 2 more of his sons and a son-in-law too, and I'm nowhere near the end. Got my sons on board to help the cause of driving Titus out of his mind. And what am I missing? Oh yes, raped and mutilated his daughter before the mass slaughter. So now you can see, you can't help but agree, I'm the baddest you're going to find. Sorry, tough luck, boys. How now, what's this? A party? How very, very sweet. You didn't think you could get away with not inviting little old me. You don't want to cross me or I'll make this the winter of your discontent. Although your plotting and scheming is me, Richard III, who wins the most evil descent. Executed 8 noblemen in my quest for power. That's not counting my 2 little nephews in the tower. They had to go, and my brother too, who I drowned in a vat of wine. And oh yes, my wife, she also died. I suppose it was just the time. So I think that we should end this here. Go to now, look your ways. I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days.
Hi, and welcome back to the History Play Death Report. So we're starting down here with King John, where there's going to be a light splattering of death, especially from Arthur, who falls off the castle walls after nearly having his eyes gouged out with hot irons. We'll also see the death of Queen Eleanor and Lady Constance off stage before King John is killed himself after being poisoned by an unnamed and unseen disgruntled monk. Moving onwards into Richard II, we have a 50-50% chance of trial by combat taking place over the death of the Duke of Gloucester, depending on how King Richard feels that day. But later on, we'll see the death of John of Gaunt. If you're around Bushy and Green, also watch out for executions before the death of Richard II in the evening. Moving into the Henrys now, Henry IV parts 1 and 2, we'll see one major battle here at Shrewsbury, where Falstaff will pretend to be dead, and the rebel Hotspur will be killed in single combat with Prince Hal. If you're the Earl of Worcester, also look out for some executions, although all you Douglases up in Scotland can look forward to some more freedom rather than beheadings. In part 2, we'll see the death of Henry IV as well, which takes us rather nicely into Henry V. Henry V will see another major battle, once more on the beach. I'm sorry, that's once more onto the breach, my friends. This is the Battle of Agincourt. There will also be a threat of assassination from Southampton, but it will be found out and the 2 murderers killed. Henry V will also see the death of Falstaff for real this time from sickness off stage. So carrying on moving up through the Henrys to Henry VI part 1, we'll see a surge of battles coming in from France, mainly Orleans and Bordeaux, led by the Dauphin Charles and Joan of Arc, both of which will be won by the French. Around here we'll also see the start of the War of the Roses, with the death of Henry V, Bedford, Talbot and his son, and if you look closely at night, you may see the pyre Joan of Arc is eventually burnt on. Moving right into the heart of the War of the Roses now in Henry VI Part 2, we'll see the death of Gloucester, Winchester, Suffolk, Somerset, Clifford and Cade. So best bring your umbrellas. We'll also see a major battle here at St Albans. And it's not looking much better for Henry VI Part 3, as we're having another battle at St Albans, but also now in Towton and Barnet, with more death coming for Rutland, York, Warwick, Montague, another Somerset, Prince Edward, King Henry, and an unnamed father and son. But we mustn't forget about the last of the Henrys, as most people do. Henry VIII, which will see clear skies with no death for anyone, just political machinations against Catherine of Aragon. And finally, our last history is Richard III, where I'm afraid it's likely to be death all round, all the time, starting with Clarence being stabbed and drowned in a vat of wine and Edward dying of illness before the real murders begin. From there, we're going to see killings in Hastings, Rivers, Grey, Vaughan, York, Buckingham, Brackenbury, Lady Anne, the two princes in the Tower, and finally, Richard III himself. So with that in mind, have a lovely week, and as always, stay alive. Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me? Yes, good. Good afternoon. My name is Claudius, King of Denmark, and I am here to pitch my very complicated, utterly convoluted, and highly theatrical plan to you today. Now, I don't know about you, but I am always being tricked into admitting that I murdered my brother the king by pouring poison in his ear, marrying his widow, and taking the throne from his son. And I found it's time to get rid of the problem, and by problem, I mean my nephew Hamlet, once and for all. So what to do? Well, I have come up with the solution. May I present? Everything is poison. So how does it work? It couldn't be easier. Simply manipulate the son of the man Hamlet killed through a curtain into joining your plan. Arrange a fencing match between the son and your Hamlet, but make sure that you give your accomplice an actual pointy sword, not a blunted one like they usually use. And then comes the poison. Cover anything and everything in poison. Anoint the tip of the sword. Have a goblet of poisoned wine at the side, just in case. And maybe just smear it on the walls. You never know. And you are guaranteed to be rid of your Hamlet problem in no time at all. Is it dangerous? No, not at all. Our preliminary tests of the plan showed that the only side effects included the death of an accomplice after picking up the wrong sword, the death of my wife after accidentally drinking the poisoned wine without realizing, my own death after the plot was discovered and Hamlet stabbed me. Though what we really want to focus on is that Hamlet was killed thanks to this plan. So on balance, the test was very positive. So I hope you've enjoyed my presentation, and I hope to continue the Everything is Poison journey with you on board. Thank you. Okay, Keith, now I hate to break the show. Sorry, everybody at home. I hate to break the show like this for a second, but I'm just looking at this list of deaths that I've got on my screen here that you gave me, and I think that you've missed a couple of them out. Yeah, like in Midsummer Night's Dream, Measure for Measure, Much Ado, and especially Taming of the Shrew. I mean, yeah, you're right. Nobody actually dies in any of these, apart from Measure for Measure, obviously. But there is a death in all of them. Yeah, the death of feminism. Roll the clip.
Tell me, what do you think about me? Ended once ago with a marriage treaty. Daughter of gods and Amazonian queen, but she's been left out on my cool history. Tell me, what do you think about this? I'm a fair queen, but my powers dismissed. Got my lover tracking me and playing cool tricks. She can trap me in abusive relationships. Fighting over boys, train for love, our antiquated story. We just wanna, all the women want independence. Throw your hands up happy. All the honeys who written poorly from your stanzas have been. All the mamas who could be scholars, though that I am decapitated. All the ladies who truly need it, let's reclaim all our stories. Equality, you really are a queen like that. Tell me, show you ladies how you rule like that. And I never me you reclaim your bonds like that. Shakespeare, come on, what you feminism? Hey, this is great. We have some things to say too, actually. Yeah, could we join in? Sure. Tell me, doesn't it make you feel sick? The only way to sit my brother is to. So no one will believe me, and you know that it's true. A story first example of me too. Tell me, doesn't it make you feel mad? Called a slut in front of my whole fam. Tried to deny it and show it's all lies, but no one believes me, I'm not one of the guys. Told I should be tamed, we hate it, made to feel ashamed. Don't rate for just trying to be me. Updated, we just wanna, all the women want independence. Throw your hands up happy. All the honeys who written poorly, throw your stanzas at me. All the mamas who could be scholars, throw that I am decapitated. All the ladies who truly need it, let's reclaim all our stories. Isabel, you never could back down like that. Hero really show what you worth like that. Catherine, keep on bossing it, be strong like that. Shakespeare, come on, wait, feminism.
Oh, you know, poor Tom is right. Cow dung really does make an excellent side salad. Hello and welcome back to Double Toil and Trouble with us, the witches. We're just putting the final touches to today's special brew. Now, you'll remember last time we added the fillet of a finny snake, eye of newt and tongue of dog. Well, today we're adding the final ingredients to our pot. Scale of dragon, pop it in there, a bit of baboon's blood, yummy, yummy, yummy. Just a pinch of coriander and cumin, just for that nice bit of seasoning, and for that extra spice, don't forget your grease that is sweated from a murderer's gibbet. In it goes. There we go. Now we're gonna get our pot here, we're going to pop it on the stove, we're going to make the fire burn and cauldron bubble at a steady simmer for days and nights 31. Off it goes, pop in there. So while we wait for our potion to brew, let's introduce our guest for today, all the way from Rome. It's Titus Andronicus. Titus, show us what are you going to make for us? Hey, hello. What lovely to be here. So I'm going to make my famous family recipe pie. As in, it is a pie made with a family, preferably the family of a sworn enemy. So for today, I've got Chiron and Demetrius. Those are the sons of my arch nemesis, Tamora. So first thing you're going to want to do is hang them upside down and slit their throats. Get an assistant to hold the basin underneath them to catch the blood. I use my daughter Lavinia. She has no tongue and no hands, but she holds the things good in her stumps. So once you have received the blood and when they are dead, let me go grind their bones to powder small. And with this heatful liquor, temper it, and with the paste, let their vile heads be baked. And for a real pizzazz, to really get a big reaction from your guests, I'd advise you serve the pie to a mother whose sons you baked in it. It's very funny to see her face, especially when you then kill her and the husband, and your own daughter, and you get killed as well. Ah, what a party. And that is my famous family recipe pie. Well, thank you, Titus. By the pricking of my thumb, something delicious. This way it comes. So when shall we three meet again? Next week, when we'll have Shylock with us, showing us all the things you can do with just a pound of flesh. And we'll be giving out some more vague prophecies. See you, bye! Here we go. It's the end of the show. We've shown nearly all the deaths, but there's a few left over, so the only thing to do is just run through all the rest. But here's a thought, why not go from the start? Go through the entire death list. That way we can say there's absolutely no way there's any deaths that we've missed. Here we go. Midsummer Night's Dream, Caverniscent Is Be, die in a frankly god-awful play. All's well ends well with a fake death from hell, and as you like it, just a stag ends its days. Cymbeline has more, Cloten's head hits before the queen dies, but Imogen does not. Love's labour's lost, sees another dead deer, and a king dies to spice up the plot. Measure for Measure has a dead pirate's head. Much Ado has a fake funeral plan. Then in Merry Wives, no one loses their lives. Tempest, everyone thinks others are gone. Pericles' family he presumes are dead. Dionysa and Cleon actually meet a sticky end. Comedy of Errors just had long lost brothers. Merchant and Taming have no deaths, unlike the others. Troilus and Cressida Hector get stabbed. Two Gents has a rumour that Valentine is mad. The Winter's Tale exit pursued by a bear. A son dies, Hermione fakes her birth. 12 Nights, a dad and brother are dead at the start. The mix-ups happen while siblings are apart. Henry IV, Thomas Hotspur, the King and Falstaff fakes. Henry V, Falstaff dies. Henry VI goes Henry V had 3 more lords and Joan is been alive. 40 more noblemen are gone through Henry VI. Then 12 more and Richard III are added to the mix. King John's poisoned, Arthur falls 2 more die off stage. Richard II was John of Gaunt, Bushy Green and Richard Cross. Anthony and Cleo both bite the dust. 3 servants, a general and the wife that Aunt tossed. Coriolanus, it's just him, but now we go to Hamlet. Horatio survives, but everyone else dies. And plot's gone wrong, including Guildenstern and Rosencrantz. Caesar gets stabbed and the mob goes mad. Cassius and Brutus, Titianus and Portia too, even Cinna the poet. It's so sad. Timon sees a guy killed, then he goes in the end. Star-crossed lovers, they die too, with cousins, mothers, aunts, and friends. Laid out with Cordelia, Gone, Maria, and Regan. 2 servants, Cornwall, Gloucester, Edmund, and the executioner. Othello kills himself after smothering Desdemona. Rodrigo and Amelia make the Tech Grant. Macbeth kills the king to God and Banquo. Don't forget, Macduff slaughtered Macbeth, elder lady, and dies off regret. Titus starts with 20 sons killed in war. 4 of them kid die, but then there's more. Bassianus, his brother Titus, and a random nurse. Tamora fed some dinner pie, then she dies too, so get the hearse, and that's them all, the very end of our list. I hope you've enjoyed hearing all these gory bits. So there we are, that's all the deaths seen, mentioned, faked, plus some extra gory bits. Keith, you've been keeping a tally. How have we done? We've got 158. What? It was like 10,000. Where are we missing them? Right, okay, you quick, get on Google, look in the complete works. I will look on here, alert the village elders. Oh, here it is. Okay, Henry V, after the Battle of Agincourt. This note does tell me of 10,000 French that in the field lie slain. Where is the number of our English dead? Edward, the Duke of York, the Earl of Suffolk, Sir Richard Kelly, David Gamma Squire, none else but of name, but of all men but 5 and 20. That's it. There's 10,029 people killed at the Battle of Agincourt in Henry V. Get it tallied up, Pete. That's 10,187. We did it. Oh, thank you, everybody, for watching. We've been Creamface Loons. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We've got web series and other live stream shows at the Loons TC. I've been Abby. This is Keith. And I'm going to go have a lie down. Oh.
It is said that when the world seems unkind, home is the place where they have to take you in. Our planet is our home, not that collection of disposable, resource-using rubbish you surround yourself with. The time has come to leave all that behind. The day has come. It will be beautiful. You must have faith. Your future, our future, starts now. The world's systems can be stopped. We can rebuild. Less is more. Each day, we witness scenes like the ones you've been watching. Society isn't functioning anymore. Did it ever? Our behaviour has been infecting the soul for generations, and now our sheer numbers are taking down our structures. We complain incessantly about our collapsed systems. We greedily consume resources so that we can grow rich and be first in the queue for rescue. Then we seek reassurance that we aren't doing anything wrong. We cannot give you that reassurance. And if we did, you would know that we were lying to you. We will not lie to you. 3 billion people on this planet don't even have the means to wash their hands. Your privilege is killing us all. Still, there's something enlightening about all this decay, this rotten behaviour, this ferocious mixture of overpopulation, complacency, and greed. Thankfully, I've been making the preparations for years now, and so many of you have been doing the same. But we must remain disciplined for just a few more hours. We've long dreamed of such a kind of life. Do we have another one?
I'm afraid so. One of our most loyal, but she's having to leave her child behind. It's a tough one. I think she may back out.
Let me see.
Forgive me. I couldn't. You couldn't understand. You wiped every tear from their eyes. There would be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. The old order of things has passed away.
Well, the stars may shine bright, or the clouds may be white, but when you smacks me feel this.
Please, there's nothing I can do.
Okay, send the blue team.
Do you want them to go in?
Yes, go in. Go right in. Let's speak with her personally. A minor, last-minute issue, only to be expected. If you're just joining us, now is your chance to catch up and remind yourself of what we're leaving behind. This can't go on. You know it. We know it. You can no longer afford to be part of the problem. Join us. Be part of our cleansing. And tomorrow, you will be part of the most profound solution the world has ever known.
They've arrived.
Okay, I'm on standby. As soon as I've spoken to her, do it.
Excommunicate.
Yes, excommunicate.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to his lounge in Liverpool, Mr. Henry Churniavsky. Let me ask you, stop. Son, you didn't think this through. I told you the music wouldn't work. I can't see if anyone's clapping or joining in. Oh, there are comments at the side. Well, I need my glasses. Oh, this is a great start. You didn't think this through. Good evening. My name is Henry Churniavsky. Welcome to the show. Now, if lockdown hasn't been strange enough, doing a live gig and you can't see the audience or hear the audience is weird. Mind you, there are a lot of gigs that I do that you've got the lights on you and then you can't see much of the audience anyway. And not hearing laughter, that's probably just a typical Henry Churniavsky show, to be honest. On the plus side, there are no hecklers, unless someone wants to type something, but I can't read it anyway, so that's going to be a waste of time. So, welcome to Lockdown Oy Vey, a Jewish Perspective. Now, I'm Jewrotic, so not being able to see or hear from you ain't going to help, because Jewrotic means I'm Jewish and neurotic. So, the big question is, has your relationship changed since March 23rd this year? That's the lockdown day, by the way. It's been 5 months. Have you learned anything new in your relationships? Well, prior to lockdown, people were asking me because I was 60, and I know I don't look it. Yeah, all right. But, I mean, do Jews retire? I mean, Jews don't see retirement as the end. They see it as the beginning. Well, they haven't met my wife. They see it as time to reinvent themselves. Well, living at home all day, I need a 48-hour watch because that's what it feels like. There are two things that are going to happen at the end of this lockdown. Is that, one, if you've watched Brookside, I'm going to build a patio. Or two, a divorce. Those are the only things that will happen. So what's my wife learned about lockdown? Well, she's learned that I am not practical. Jews men aren't practical. Not in our DNA, to be honest. If there's a leak or anything, she has an expression. Get a man to do it. To be honest, when I first got home and told her that we were in lockdown, she said, oh, good, means you can paint the fence outside. We are 156 days in. I haven't done it yet. I'm building up to it. What has lockdown taught me? It's taught me that I bloody hate Amazon Prime one-click. Because my wife is finger trigger happy. Everything. Oh, click, oh, click, oh, click. At the early stages of lockdown, we couldn't get any Jacob's crackers. My wife, click. 48 large packets of crackers arrive. 48 packets. She then decides that in her infinite wisdom, for some reason, she wants to bake a cake. She never bakes cakes. So we now have an online weekly shop from Tesco's. That particular week, I couldn't get any icing sugar. Ooh, no problem. Click. A 10-kilo pack of white icing sugar turns up. I'm walking around the house looking like Narco, the drug dealer. The other question is, do Jewish men clean up? Do they clean in the house? Not normally. But my wife hit on an idea because we couldn't have anyone in help in the house. It was a click. 2 hoovers. I was hoodwinked. She bought one of these. It's like being in a sci-fi movie, and I had to do the cleaning with it. Bloody one click. You know, isolation and staying at home, it does make you do strange things, doesn't it? I remember I went to make some piece of toast the other day, and I decided to cut the toast, the bread, in a hand. When it popped up, I gave it a high five. One of the problems is that being at home every day, you don't know what day it is. The only way I can find out is when I take my medication. But it has given me time. Lockdown has given me time to look at cooking and trying things out. I mean, it's a great time, isn't it? Let's be honest. Do all sorts of things. So I've tried some things. What have I done? I've done mashed potato in a sandwich. I've tried to mix things that I really like. You know, like fish fingers and custard, soy sauce and ice cream. And I've come to realise that peanut butter will go with anything. Lockdown is very important to be tidy, because I'm not the tidiest person. If you ask my wife, she would say I'm not tidy. But my son's come home for lockdown. He's 32. He's come home, and yeah, he hasn't heard about being tidy. He every day he's waiting for the cleaning fairies to turn up and move things that he's left. And I think he's allergic to lights. He's not allergic to switching them on. It's just switching them off is the problem, apparently. I mean, fair dues to him, he does cook at weekends. He cooks amazing meals. I have to give him that. And I have to clear up afterwards. And you're in the kitchen, it's like Hiroshima. I never even knew we had that number of pans in the house, to be honest with you. He has actually got a penchant for whiskey. He likes a particular brand. Mine. Well, that feels good. And his mother, she's turned into a real Jewish mother since he's been home. There's 3 of us in the house. She now insists that every time we order something, it's 4 of everything. Click, click, click. Everything's in 4s. And now she's cooking meals. I've never ate so well. She's cooking liver, chicken, schnitzels. For those non-converted to Judaism, that is like chicken with breadcrumbs. It's amazing. But I did point out to my wife that we've got frozen schnitzels in the freezer. She says, "Oh, they're for you when he goes." Friday night, we're having knedlach, which are dumplings, homemade chicken liver, chicken, and on occasions, duck. Yes, if my daughter's watching, duck. Now, Jewish people know that duck is a delicacy in being kosher and very hard to come by and very expensive. Let me explain. Duck's about that big. So think about at Christmas when you're buying the biggest turkey you've ever had. How much does that cost? Double it, and you'd be near the price of a duck. So yes, Natalie, you've missed out. The other day, my son said he liked a particular butter, which I couldn't get on Tesco's. Oh, click, my wife. 300 packs turn up the next day. Yesterday, catering packs. You know the ones from hotels? The little packs? 300 of them. He asked for some bagels. Oh, click. 84 bagels. There isn't enough room in the fridge and the freezer to put all this. Not a problem for my wife. Click. A new 5-foot fridge arrives. Well, at least you can keep his sparkling water cold. You know, being Jewish isn't necessary about having to talk all the time, because it's just not. And I remember early on in the lockdown, me and the missus had a bit of a row, big row. And it's about 3 days later, I was looking for a particular shirt to wear. So I asked her. She went, "Oh, you're talking to me now?" I said, "Yes. Why?" She says, "Haven't you noticed I haven't spoken to you for 3 days?" I said, "No, I just thought we were getting on." We have a new hobby. It's a Jewish hobby. It's when you're out walking, it's criticizing other people who don't social distance themselves. I call it Jewish because we talk very loud so they hear. And if they're not wearing masks, we make sure we tell them, why aren't you wearing masks? The other thing about lockdown is that people have said, oh, we're looking after our neighbours, looking out for our neighbours. You're not really, are you? You're spying on them, seeing whether they break lockdown, like some of our neighbours might or have. Not the ones watching, by the way, the other ones. And also, are you questioning, remember the days when we were outside clapping the NHS? Didn't you look and see which neighbours weren't outside clapping? You were, weren't you? I know you were. I actually wanted for lockdown to buy a dog. But my wife informed me that there was a rule. Dog is not just for COVID. Dog is for life, dog is for COVID. And I haven't been working, so I haven't been wearing work clothes. My thought now is, will I ever wear trousers with a zipper again? And then I speak to a lot of women at work, and my wife, they're all going on my daughter about grey hairs, this grey hairs, that, when we're going to get better with grey hairs. I am very lucky. I am very, very blessed, I know. I am colourblind, but I know I've got lovely dark black hair, so I'll tell you what else is happening in lockdown. Too much drinking. Everyone's drinking more, aren't they? Well, I'll tell you what you shouldn't do, is drink alcohol concern. I did in the early days of lockdown. Waste of time that was. He said, sir, what's your concern today? I said, my concern is I haven't got enough beer in the fridge. They weren't very happy with me. When your mobile phone breaks, it is a nightmare, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's a nightmare when your mobile phone breaks. In lockdown, it's even worse. But I managed, mine broke, and I managed to get a new one posted to me. It's so secure, it's unbelievable. It's got face recognition identification, and you have to look at it. But I don't know in lockdown, do I have it like this, or do I wear a mask? I don't know what to do. Exercise seems to have come up quite a lot in lockdown. Why do we exercise? I'll tell you why Jews exercise. They said they can eat more. I know my daughter disagrees with me. We've had many discussions on this, but as you can tell from my physique, I work out every day. Piss off. When I do my hour, I burn about 800 calories. And I've worked out that 800 calories is roughly half a pack of chocolate digestives. Or if you're Jewish, 1 cheese blizzard and a smetana, which is a cheese pancake, deep fried, and with very fat sour cream. Now, my daughter says to me, Dad, you exercise, but you eat less. How does that work? What's the point of that? Sweat, tears, pain, and no treat at the end? That doesn't make sense. Sorry, Nat, it doesn't make sense. And my wife's talking about exercising now. Apparently she read an article. She called me in the other day and she said, did you know if you walk for 20 minutes a day, it helps your sex life? I said, don't be ridiculous. I don't know anybody 20 minutes away. In 2020, I'd written a 1-hour special, which I was going to be performing at Space. And unfortunately, as you know, because of COVID, had to stop. And it was all around my Jewish mother, who's 86. So hopefully that'll be next year. But do you know what? Even since COVID, she has given me material. I had to go round. She was alone with a cat. And I went round when COVID first started, when the lockdown was about to start. And I said to her, I sat her down. I said, look, Mum, you'll not be able to go out. You've got to stay at home. You've got to isolate. She looked at me and she said, I don't go out anyway. I mean, that's not true. She does. We do take her out. We do take her out. I said, no, you can't go out. So my sister had this great idea. Let's use an old iPhone and we can FaceTime. Now that sounds easier than done, especially with my mother and the phone. If you speak to my mother on a normal phone, she thinks she is paying £100 a second to be on there. I think my daughter rang her today and it was 1 minute and 2 seconds was the phone call. That's about normal. So I went round and I sat down calmly with her, had the phone, and all she had to do was press the button as you can see pictures. It took 15 calls for her to actually get that. So I wasn't holding much hope out of it working. So the next day I decided to ring her. So I rang her, she answered the phone, she picked it up, and now I can see right down her ear. I said, no, Mum, look at the camera, and now I'm looking up her nose. Oh, which reminded me, I need to get some nasal clippers. Oh, my wife's done it, one click. So yeah, so when we did see her, we only saw that. That's all we could see. She said she could see us. It wasn't going to work. I said, Mum, just switch it off. Just switch it off. So she's trying to switch it off, and she can't. She's got the carer there trying to switch it off, and she's talking to her saying, oh, bloody hell, this, that, and the other. I'm going, Mum, I can hear you. Oh, shut up, she says. The phone goes dead. So that was a complete waste of time. But what happened was we were starting Zoom meetings with the rest of the family, my sister in London, my kids, and my nieces and nephews. So I decided one Sunday that I would surprise the family and have my mum sitting there when meeting started. So I sat her down at 6 o'clock. Which wasn't the best of times. 6 o'clock, she's sitting there. I've switched it on. I am distancing. I am in the garden on my mobile phone. 6 o'clock comes. They are all surprised. The whole family is surprised to see the grandma there, the mother there, and they're all talking to her. She's not saying anything. She hasn't got her hearing aids in. So I am now going to the door, shouting, Mum, say hello. And she's going, ooh, hello, ooh. That's about it. The only thing she said was she did say to her daughter, stop playing with your hair. So I'm outside and we're all talking, and 15 minutes later, she calls me in. She says, I'm bored, can you switch it off? I said, well, you better say goodbye, because they can all hear you. So she says goodbye, and she starts to have a meal. I'm still in the garden. It's 6:30. She calls me in again. Okay, you can go now, I'm going to bed. And she said to me on the way to the bedroom, do you know, I really enjoyed that. This thing about my mum and going to bed early has happened throughout my life. When I was younger, and me and my two sisters, my mother at 5 o'clock would put the clock forward in the lounge an hour forward to 6. Call us in and go, it's 6 o'clock, time for bed. She did that till I was 18 and realised it was 6 o'clock news. So, yes, mum and technology will not work. So what else has happened in COVID time? Oh, I had to have a pre-op for an operation. I'm not going to go into much detail about the operation, but what it did entail was a very long steel tube with a camera down my penis. I'm not going to go into it, but I had to have a pre-op for this. Yeah, and the thing they ask you, it says on the day, take all your medication. Have you tried taking 3 months worth of medication? And in the pre-op, in the pre-assessment, they're asking me, do you drink? How much? I thought, well, I said a good bottle of Glenlivet is about £29. They wanted a medical history. I think I passed that because I said, I know the penicillin was found in 1928. I know. I'm not sure that's what they wanted, to be honest. Do you remember those days when you could go to restaurants and not worry? You know, now apparently, I haven't been, but I know now there's like, you've got to be gapped away from people, there's shielded, everything. I mean, even just menus. I mean, it's hard before COVID going to restaurants, looking at the menus. Have you seen all the things next to the food? You've got V for vegetarian, VG for vegan, DF for dairy free, GF for gluten free, or if you're on Slimmer's World, gluten free. And then I went to this Liverpool restaurant, and everything right down the side, FN, FN, FN. I called the waitress over. What's FN? She went, fucking normal. Being at home and having time on my hands, I'm doing a lot more reading. I was reading a little bit about the menopause and effect. There's an article about the effect of the menopause on men. Well, that's what it's called, isn't it? men on pause. Now, the survey said that basically 8 out of 10 men found their wives to be moody. In fact, it was 77% said their wives were moody. The other 23% must have filled out this form when the wives were there and said no. The survey did say that 6 out of 10 said it had a big effect on them. The other 4 were still finding themselves trying to get themselves cool. A third of the women in the survey said it had an effect on their age, getting aware of their age, and emotionally saying "fuck you" quite a lot. Now, I have a problem with the writer of this article. Her name was Miriam Ferrer. Now, she must be in her 20s, definitely single and not premenopausal. Because she says, now guys, maybe you can back me up on this. She says that men and women should talk more about it. Really? I don't think men want to talk about the menopause to the wives when they're having the hot flushes. I don't think that's a good idea. And I know this because when my wife had the menopause, she was confrontational, irrational. You know, I'd ask her, "How are you?" She'd turn to me and say, "Who bloody hell wants to know?" And there were questions that she'd ask that there was no answer that I wouldn't get into trouble for. Like, why haven't you got cellulite? How do I answer that without getting into trouble? They say it's the invisible syndrome. Wasn't my bloody house. But talking of marriage, I've been married 33 years. I am asked quite a lot of time, but you know, in those 33 years, what is the secret of a happy marriage, happy and long marriage? I said, well, I can tell you the secret of a long marriage. But I have tried to start relearning what I think is called the Jewish wife code. You may not have heard of it, but I remember this Jewish wife code was given to me by my grandfather on the day of my wedding. He took me to one side and he said to me, "Henry, I'll give you a bit of advice, which I wasn't given when I married your grandmother, but do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Because you can't be both in the marriage." I said, "I want to be happy. I'm happy. I am happy. I am so happy. I often ask my wife, hang on, darling, am I happy?" "Damn right you are." See, I'm very happy apparently. We were on holiday last year. Remember those days on holiday, having the care in the world. And we met a couple. I overheard my wife how she described me. She said, "My son is into extreme sports. My daughter is into extreme makeovers. My husband into extreme denial." That's how she referred to me. Lockdown. We've seen now in lockdown the increase in the number of Zoom meetings for work and Teams meetings, and they are good, aren't they? They are good. And let's be honest, when you're watching them, when you're there, you're spying at the back, aren't you? Look at the room, especially you women. Oh, is this room tidy? Is her room tidy? And you're looking at the books, aren't you, on the shelf to see what they are. And I've seen a few knobheads who have bought new books. You know, Ulysses, War and Peace. There was one knobhead who won't be mentioned, who's actually got the Kama Sutra in full view. I know he's a virgin because it's not even open. It's got the cellophane around it. But Zoom does cause problems. And there's 2 things you should learn about Zoom: how to mute and how to turn the video off. And the reason I say that is, we were having a TED talk at work the other day, a similar TED talk. And the guy giving the talk had the whole thing on mute. We just had to listen to this guy. And I could see I think it was about 8 or 10 of us on the screen. And during the conversation, one of the girls got up and left the room with her laptop. I saw her and I thought, she's probably going to make a cup of tea or something. No, she went into the toilet. Now, on view were a mixture of men and women, and they fall into 2 camps. In one camp, there were people laughing, and in the other camp, they were trying to get hold of their phones and trying to ring the girl. No avail. She came off the toilet, came back into the room, saw her phone ringing, picked it up. Oh, now she found how to turn the video off. Some people never learn. Have any of you at home got a dishwasher? I ask that for a particular reason, because is there anybody anal in your house about the dishwasher? Is there anyone in your room? You know, oh, you've got to rinse the plates before they go in. Got to go in some sort of order. Cups have got to go in some sort of order. Oh, and the cutlery has got to be in the right places. Have you got someone like that in your house? It's me in my house. I don't get any help from my son or daughter, my son or my wife. Do they have an expression? Don't give a fuck. That will sort it out. Anyway, I'm 60. 60. What are the benefits of being 60? Well, I've realised that if I'm ever a hostage in the kidnapping, I'll be out free. I'll be out one of the first ones to be set free. And I've also realised that if you're not Jewish, you're not classed as a hypochondriac. Jewish, you're classed as a hypochondriac well into your 80s, to be honest. I've realised now, also being a 60, that I'm going to buy clothes that I'm never ever going to wear out. But you've also got to be very careful. You know, don't take your sleeping tablet with your laxative on the same night. And it's about choices, isn't it? My wife said to me the other day, you know, why don't we run upstairs and make love? I said, it's one thing or the other, darling. It's not both. And do you remember expressions? You know, when you're growing up with the expressions like, can I get a bit of action? Remember that expression? Yeah. Well, to me, that now is, has my laxative worked? And getting lucky. Yeah, that now means to me is that if I put my car in a car park, I find it right away when I'm going back to the car. I remember that expression, lads, had an all-nighter? Yeah. For me, that means I've been up for a piss during the night. But you know what? I have realised now that I am definitely turning into my Jewish grandmother. Because I will say things that I don't really mean, and the family don't pick up on it. They'll ask me, Henry, are you all right? I said, yeah, it's fine, don't worry, and they don't. And when I go out now, I make sure that I take a sweater with me. You know, I was in Liverpool quite a while ago now, but I was in Liverpool and looking at the Liverpool girls in town, they were next to nothing. I mean, years ago, I'd be thinking of certain things. All I can think of now is, she's going to get pneumonia. And I insist when the children go out, I take an umbrella. Take an umbrella. They go, why? I go, did you think Noah got a warning? Also at 60, I can now practice my selective hearing. That's what I do, selective hearing now. I'm often asked, what is being Jewish? And that's hard to answer. But there has been a proper medical thorough test done by Jewish grandmothers on this, and it's conclusive. It's all regarding snacks. That Jewish people should always go out with snacks in their pocket. Because, and this is conclusive evidence because my grandmother told me, because if you're out, you never see a Jewish person just going out having just a drink. Everyone has snacks. I've got my own snacks here. Always have to have snacks. And the reason for that is that if you don't eat for 2 hours, your blood pressure drops. 4 hours, you'll go dizzy. And 5 hours with no food, you'll pass out. That is a well-known medical fact. Lockdown has also taught me things about texting. Things like, I usually ask the audience, of course, it's a bit difficult today, but LOL. We all know what LOL is. Yes, well, it's now changed. It's living on lockdown. FML? Yes, fuck my lockdown. I used to have my own ADS at doctor's surgery. That doesn't happen anymore, does it? It's now CSD. Can't see a doctor. Now, I don't know whether there are any women out there who are GP receptionists. If there are, I don't apologise for this, but when did they get medically trained? Do you know, you used to go in and you ask, can I see a doctor? And they'll say, what's wrong with you? Well, first of all, if I knew what was wrong with me, I wouldn't be standing there. But besides that, you have to tell the receptionist what's wrong with you. Like she could help you. Now you have to ring up and you speak to them. And they say, can I see a doctor? What's wrong with you? Well, I'd rather speak to a doctor if you don't mind. It's a bit personal. Well, no, I have to know. I have to know. I think, have you done your 6 years of medical training? Or just being a nosy bitch? I said, actually, I have a rash. She says, oh, well, that's easy, sir. Just send a photograph in and we'll get the doctor to ring you. Well, I must admit, I thought me sending a dick pic would I'd get away with it. Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've just seen a text from my wife that she's clicked Amazon again for a new husband. I hope there's still an audience out there. I've been Henry Churniavsky. I want you to stay safe and well, and say good night, Rabbi. Good night.